Is mohair in the tropics a strange thing? Hi everyone, I'm Kyliegee. This is a knitting podcast. Welcome back, or hello for the first time, depending on whether or not you've been here before. I must admit, this is a week later than I intended to record. We actually ended up going, today's Sunday, and we ended up going out to lunch last Sunday. That ended up being a long and lazy lunch. So I stayed down by the beach in Palm Cove, not far from where I live, in a lovely restaurant with some good friends, drinking wine and laughing, and it was a lovely way to spend Sunday afternoon. So I didn't actually get much knitting done last weekend at all. That being said, I have tried a couple of times through the week. I've worked from home this week. I've tried a couple of times through the week to sit down and chat about my knitting and let you all keep you, if you're interested, keep you up to date with what I've been up to. And I actually haven't been able to sit down and record. I've been quite busy with work, and then come the end of the day, I'm just a little sapped for energy, and this is the sort of thing where you need to have a certain amount of energy to come across on screen like you're interesting. So yeah, so we're a week later than intended. I hope to do this every fortnight. We'll see. If I'm 3 months into this and there's still only 20 people a week kind of watching it, I may change my mind, but you know, it's just really nice to sit down and talk about my knitting with, well, me, because I can only see me, but I'm figuring that, you know, there's some people on the other side of the screen who are actually kind of interested in what it is that I've knit through the week. The other really fascinating thing that I've found since I recorded my first video 3 weeks ago is the motivation that you get from knowing that you need to demonstrate some or show some finished objects at some point. So I've put these, you know, we tend to put these, you know, really strange deadlines on ourselves as knitters, and I never really paid a great deal of attention to them before, but because I know that I need to sit down and talk about something and talk about having finished something, it's kind of motivating, which is very cool, and has turned me into a bit of a monogamous knitter, which surprises me. So yeah, anyway, so I've got, so what are we chatting about this week? I've got a couple of finished objects. I know, I'm just as shocked. I've got a new project that I started a couple of days ago, and I need your help as to whether or not I'm gonna frog it or finish it. I've got a project that's been languishing for quite a while. Actually, it's over there. I need to go and grab it. And I really wanted the finished object, but sadly the finished object, I don't know, we'll chat about it in a bit. But anyway, I hope you're well, and yeah, I might get into some knitting content. After I've had a chat about the frog it or finish it, I figured that we might dig into my notions pouch. I just grabbed it on the way in, so it hasn't been tidied up, it hasn't been, you know, fancied up in order to, you know, best foot forward and all of that kind of stuff. It really is just the notions pouch I use all the time, and yeah, I thought we'd take a dive in that and see how embarrassingly untidy that is, because you know that notions pouches are either too big, untidy, or you've got too many of them. I think mine might be untidy. Anyway, we'll have a look. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please, don't hesitate to give me a thumbs up. Apparently the YouTubey universe likes that kind of stuff. And subscribe, and then hit that little bell, and then you'll know when I actually get my act together enough and I come back and record another video. That's assuming you're enjoying it. So let's get into some nitty content, shall we? My first finished object this week is a pair of socks. So they're not very glamorous sock lockers, are they? But practical. I quite like them. They're like this because we've recently renovated our bathroom and taken out the shower rail, and they used to sit on shower curtain rings. I might get some more because I can use them in the laundry where I hang these to dry. I've actually got a bar that sits between my window and a cupboard that hangs over the sink. It's sort of like where I hang my air-dried clothes, clothes that need to be drip-dried and you can't really hang outside. I might get myself some. Anyway, I digress. So, these are a gorgeous pattern by Helen Stewart for the Handmade Sock Society. I think it's Sock Society number 4. And they're called, I did jot down so that I wouldn't get it wrong, because there's nothing worse than shouting out to somebody and then actually making an error as to what it is that you knit. So these are my March socks by Helen Stewart, Lavender Field socks. So this month, the Grocery Girls sock knit along, the theme is lace. So these have been in my queue for a little while, and I figured, you know what, I think it's time I cast those on. I think these will look really cute in my elastic-sided boots that I often wear into work when I'm working remotely, on and off light aircraft and stuff in Cape York. So I think they'll look great just peeking out above my boots, jeans tucked in and stuff. So I did make some modifications to this though, because I like a slightly longer sock. So I added 12 rounds to the leg of the sock before I started the heel flap and gusset. And I have quite a standard heel flap and gusset doesn't fit my foot terribly well. But I find if I add a couple of rows, it fits quite nicely. So I did that again. I actually added 8 rows rather. So that gave me an additional 4 stitches in my heel, which just gives me a little bit more room through here. Standard toe decreases, and that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous partridge heel, is that what it's called? That gorgeous sort of, fish scale pattern that you can get on it. I knit this out of an Aussie yarn from Nundle Woolen Mill. I think I talked about this last time I recorded. It's from the Nundle collection. It's the merino nylon sock, and it's 85.25. I've got loads of it up here. These are from 75 merino wool, 25% nylon, and it is obviously a superwash. So these come in 195 metre balls, ready to knit straight from, which is just fabulous. And they're about $7.50 Australian, which is awesome. They're really inexpensive and good quality, and it's an Australian product, and let's face it, you know, merino wool in Australia is something we're known for. So that's Nundle collection sock yarn. So I did these in the, I'll pop that there for now. I did these in the grey colourway. I've got a little bit left over that'll go into that ever-growing pile of unfinished yarn. What do we do with it all? You know, I'm knitting a blanket, but I have to say, a fingering weight blanket in the tropics. I've been knitting it for 4 years. Anyway, it is what it is. So there we go. So that's my first finished object. So now, now I've spoken to you about them, I can actually pop them in my 2022 sock box that's now got 3 pairs in them. The theme for next month, I think, is floral. Anyway, I know that I've already chosen what I'm going to be knitting next month for the Grocery Girls knit along, for the sock knit along. And as I said, I'm really trying, another ridiculous silly goal that I've set myself is to try and knit a pair of socks a month, because I really like socks. So yeah, so that's those first finished object. I'll put that over there. Okay. Well, my next finished object is I had cast on and only knit a tiny little bit, and I'm considering this a finished object. It's not quite a finished object, but I'm calling it finished, if you like. I've just got some ends to weave in, and I've got to block it. But it is, can you see the sparkle in that? How fabulous is this? It is my love note. So that's, the reason I haven't got it on is because I haven't blocked it, and I haven't woven in the ends. So, I don't know if you can see. I can't see what I'm showing you or what I'm not. So, it's, so I did make some more. I've obviously done a short sleeve version. Okay. I did make some modifications to the pattern. When I cast back on, when I put the stitches back on the needles for the, which you can see happened there, I did some short rows. I did about 2.5 inches of short rows across the back, just to bring it up a little bit at the back, just so it would sit a little nicer on. Because this does have the Stellaris metallic yarn in it, it's a bit of a special occasion top. It's got mohair in it, which is why I think it's kind of crazy that I knitted this, because I live in the tropics. But I figure, look, you know, when we head into winter, it does get a little bit cool. I've got thin blood though, because, you know, it's 27, 28 degrees out there today. So, you know, I'm sitting in here with the air conditioning on 24 at the moment. That's the only way I could wear a shawl. But it's mohair. Gosh, what can you say? It's just really lovely to knit with. And the Grocery Girls are also running a bit of a, it's not a knit along, it's just, you know, knit with me kind of thing. Let's do this as a group with the love note, a 3-week love note. And I got that in well under the 3 weeks, because this had just been cast on, yeah, the night before I spoke to you, so dead on 3 weeks to finish it. And it's the Grocery Girls are also doing a sparkle knit along, knit something sparkly. So I figured this would be a nice addition. I just thought I'd enter it in and see. You know, it's I don't know that I would have knit it otherwise, and isn't that what knit alongs are for? To sort of encourage you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. So yeah. Anyway, so my modifications, I cast on with a provisional cast on as the pattern requested, but as I mentioned to you last time, it's rather than using yarn as to hold it, I actually cast on using, this isn't barber cord, but it's barber cord like, and that was just fabulous. Best invention ever, this stuff, and because it sat on these barber cords, trying it on as I was going was really easy to do, because I certainly had enough length in the cord that I was knitting it with, because it calls for a strange length, like a cropped length, and look, I'm 53. There's not a snowball's chance in hell I'm wearing cropped anything. I just, no. I don't mind something hitting my natural waist, but anything shorter than that, it's just not a style that I like. So I did knit it a little bit longer, but it will probably grow a little bit when I block it. We'll see. I haven't taken the photos yet. There's all the details are on my Ravelry page for it, but now, yeah, so all the details will be on my Ravelry page, and I'm hoping to get this ends woven in and the and give it a bit of a bath this afternoon and stretch it out. But that, I think once that lace will just bloom. Now the sleeves, I knit 19 rows, and if you've knit the Love Note, you already know it takes a 6mm needle. That's what I used, needles that were in the recommended needle size in the pattern. I didn't, I dropped down to the smaller needle size, which is 4.5, I think, for the ribbing, and just bound off loosely, using the 6mm needle as the working needle to bind off with, so that I got a nice loose cast off edge. And I just cast off, normal cast off. I didn't do anything fancy, because to be completely fair, I know I only knit 19 rows on the sleeves of this puppy, but I tell you what, magic loop, I knit the magic loop obviously, on a thicker cord, on a 6mm needle. I just didn't enjoy it. I really didn't enjoy it, to the point where I got 3 rows in, and the reason it took me as long as it did was because this actually, I got a little bit fed up with it and put it to one side more than once, because it, I just wasn't enjoying knitting the sleeves magic loop. So I jumped on, and my favourite yarn shop is Skein Sisters in Sydney, and I jumped on and bought a pair of 16-inch circulars in 6mm, so that I would finish it. They haven't arrived yet, because that's what happens when you live at the tip of Australia and you're buying yarn in Southern Australia. You're buying things from Southern Australia, you know, freight up here is just long and slow, and we've of course had an awful lot of rain, so I haven't got them yet. So anyway, all that to say, I persevered and ultimately just did a magic loop and just counted down the rows. Anyway, so I'm really happy with it. I think once it blocks out, it's just going to be stunning. And I think really nice with a pair of, you know, sort of just pants or a tight skirt and, you know, a little knee-length skirt to go out to dinner. Sort of, because people don't really dress up in Far North Queensland here. We're very much a beach type culture, so I've only got one pair of closed-in high heel shoes. Like, we just don't wear them here. I'm sitting here in a pair of Birkenstocks right now, so anyway. So there you go. So the sparkly knit along. So it's finished. Well, I'm calling it finished anyway. So there you go. Yeah, happy with that. So, got it done because I needed to talk to you about it. How good's that? It's pretty good. Okay, next thing. That's all that I've been knitting on. Oh, I suppose I should mention the yarn I used for my love note was Lolodidit in the... I've still got a whole skein. I'm so excited. This is one of my favourite colours. I love it. It's called Folsom. In the plush sock base. Most of this behind me is Lolodidit in the plush sock base. This will look great in a shawl. I'm thinking this will end up in a shawl. Now it's all wound up. Once it's wound up, you know, it's so much easier to want to use. So I can pop this away now, ready for the next exciting project. But I will knit another love note. Yeah, I will. I think my sister would really like one. I'm getting a lot for my sister at the moment, so, you know. She lives in a cold place. That's so that's the Lolodidit, and then the other yarn I used is the mohair is a Kremke mohair. I think that's the end of a third ball. Not much, just like a little powder puff. Oh, it's so soft and really quite lovely to knit with. So I held 3 yarns together knitting the love note, and the Kremke gold. How great is that? And the wonderful thing about it is that it just gives a kiss of sparkle. It's not in your face 80s disco awful. It's just a kiss of sparkle. Just lovely. So yeah, so that's the yarn I used for that. Sorry, it's all very new, this whole podcast, vlogcast, whatever it is that I'm doing. The next item, so they're my finished objects. So go me, yay. I'm having a very productive year. So I got to chatting to my sister earlier in the week, and she lives in an incredibly cold place. Oh my god! Oh, in an old miner's cottage. So which is just gorgeous and super cute, but super cold. So she would wear anything that I made, and I've made her some hats and things, and I'm actually about to, once these are finished, I'm about to send the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along shawl. I'm going to send that down to her, and these gloves actually are using some of the yarn that I used in that, so some of the leftover yarn. So these are a pair of mitts. I've never knit mitts before. Say that 3 times fast. I've never knit mitts before, and because I don't have the need for them, obviously, when I leave and stuff. But figured a pair of fingerless mitts would be kind of cool. I mean, you know, I can knit a tube, I can knit a sock. How hard can it be? So I've just started increasing for the thumb gusset. These have you're not going to be able to see that because, well, gosh, I need to put my glasses on to see if you can see that. But I've got a little bit of cabling just down the front. So this pattern is actually called the Mitt Envy by it's a free pattern on Ravelry by Weaselana. Is that how you say it? Sorry if I'm butchering your name. Weaselana, and yeah, one size. There's a cable that runs down the front. I'll pop a picture in here of what they look like. So what yarn am I using? Oh, special yarn. So wait for it. I know you're shocked. Lolodidit in the everyday sock base, and the colourway is called Fame, and it is this gorgeous tonal mustard, and there's some kisses of bright orange in there, and it's just lovely. It's just, oh sorry, you can't see that. I'm looking at it and you can't see it. It's just a delight to work with. It's quite tonal, it gets quite dark. It's blowing out a little bit. I might need to get some lights if I keep doing this so that you can see things. But yeah, I put Lippy on. Do I look silly? I feel a bit silly sitting in my office with Lippy on. I feel a bit foolish, but anyway, you might not get it again, so don't worry about it. But yeah, really lovely. So I figured that I would just do the Fame colourway on the tips of the cuff. So that's cast on and then 3 rows, and then I'll do it around I'll do the same amount around the thumb and then around the fingers. I just figure it's kind of cute. The other yarn is a very precious yarn to me, because it's often so hard to get, but it's Woolen Vine in the Lore base, Lore, which is sadly discontinued. I was just looking up before I sat down to have a chat to you today, just to get all the details right so that I know that I wasn't talking out of the side of my head and I was not making mistakes about what I was knitting with, and because I'm 53. We can forget things. Well, I can. And I worked out and realised that it's been discontinued, which is really sad because it's a lovely base. This is Merino Silk Cashmere base, which is just lovely in the Dirty on Purpose colourway. So that's it knit up. So they look really skinny. But they fit. Not that you care, because, they're firm. Do they need to be firm? I've never done them before. I've never done mittens before. Oh, look at the mess I'm getting myself into. Yeah, they fit. Alright, they're firm. And they're fingering weight, so quite seriously, I could knit my sister knits in chunky, and they'd still not be warm enough. Thrummed mittens in my mind, like never visiting my sister in the winter. My blood's too thin these days. I'd freeze to death. So yeah, so this is the Dirty on Purpose colourway, which is just, coming up a little bit lighter on screen than it actually is. It's a little bit deeper than that. But just lovely. And it's really lovely to knit with, and very special because getting hold of Kirsten's yarn can be quite difficult. Woolen Vine is one of the first podcasts I actually started watching was Kirsten, whereas Woolen Vine podcast. She's very inspiring. I love her aesthetic. I think she's, if you haven't seen it, and I'm sure you have, because, you know, gosh, if you can find me, you find anybody. She's, yeah, she dives into lots and lots of different making, that sort of stuff. So, yeah. So my first ever pair of mitts. So I'm hoping to have those off the needles, because let's face it, knitting a pair, they knit up pretty quickly, I would imagine. You know, I'm sort of, yeah, well underway. I did do an extra 5 rows in the cuff, because the cuff just looked a little bit short. Because I think if it's cold, don't you want to tuck your cuff up in under your jumper sleeve so that you don't get that gappy, frostbitey bit happening in the gap? I don't know, but you know. There you go. So that's what I'm knitting on at the moment. My half and half wrap, I haven't put a stitch on it. It's actually still sitting under the chair here from where I spoke to you 3 weeks ago. It hasn't moved, which is just a tad embarrassing. But you know, I've got 2 finished objects, so winning all round really. Now the next thing I want to talk to you about, I want to ask some help. Now, you know, the 4 people who watch this might want to put a comment in the box down below to help me make a decision about something. But I need to go and grab it because, you know, super organised podcaster that I am, it's still sitting over there. So won't miss it. I'm back. I might edit that out. I might not. It depends. I had a lot of fun editing last week. It was last episode. It was kind of cool. I do a little bit of graphic design work at work. I'm not a graphic designer, but I get to do a little bit, and I've not done any film editing, so I can see that would be quite a rabbit hole once you sort of get into it. And oh my gosh, I'm in awe of some of the podcast editing that happens out there now on YouTube. Like, in awe of what can be done. I just think it's amazing. Anyway, I need some help. Do I frog this or do I finish it? I've already frogged it once. This is languishing in my, oh, look what else I've found. What's in here? It's a little Jezebel emotions pouch. Wondered where that was. Okay. Does that happen to you? You lose stuff in your project bags. Okay, so, oops. This is the Calligraphy Cardigan. Okay. Now, I will pop a photo of what the finished object the finished item looks like here. With any luck, I'll remember with these hand signals. And I've finished this. And then I frogged it back to the just under the arms, just where it was split for sleeves. And the reason I did that was it was too big around the waist area, and it's a DK weight. It smells lovely because it's been sitting in a project bag with Tuft Woolen soap, so it just smells lovely. So the yarn I'm knitting this with is Northbound Knitting, 50% merino, 50% silk in a custom colourway. I had it dyed specially. I wanted a faded blue denim colour, and I think she nailed it. Under these lights, everything just looks a lot lighter than it really is. It's blowing out a bit, isn't that what they say? Could be a podcaster. So yeah. Thing is, I'm a very busty girl, and I think it might be just a little bit too much above my bust. And I don't know if I'd wear it. The other thing is, I would like to make the sleeves slightly longer. They've all been bound off. But I was reading somewhere that if your sleeves sort of finish at this height where this t-shirt finishes, because your bust is here, and if you're quite busty, it can actually make you look bigger in the boobs than you really are. And honest to God, I don't need to look any bigger in the boobs. They're big enough, thank you. You know, first world problems, I know, but, you know, they're big enough. So I'm just wondering, do I knit it and put some waist shaping in? Because I think it'd look fabulous with a denim skirt or a pair of, denim cut-off shorts down at the beach. It'd be quite warm. So it's a nice, sort of transition garment. I don't know. So this is the Calligraphy Cardigan by Nora Gorn. It's just knitting backwards and forwards, and you do have to purl because it's knit flat from here. You can actually see where I frogged. So yeah, finish it or frog it. What do you reckon? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So there you go. Now, I do have an embarrassing amount of unfinished items, but I slowly want to get through them, and this outing myself on a podcast like this is actually a really good way to make sure that I sit down and start knitting again. Or finishing items off, getting stuff finished. But yeah, there we go. This is in a Sandy by the Lakeside little. It's probably isn't that cute? Something about a polka dot. I look silly wearing them, but I wish I could wear them. But yeah. So finish or frog it. What do you reckon? The yarn is too nice to sit around and not be in an item that I can wear. And it's lovely to knit with. It's really lovely to knit with. So, yeah. So they're my knitting projects. Let me tell you a little bit about the shawl that I'm wearing. I'll pop this out of the way. Excuse me. Pop it on the floor. Have a drink. I don't know how podcasters, when they do this on their own, actually manage to get drinks in. I've been talking for, more than 30 minutes. And I haven't had a sip of anything. Water, nothing. Okay. So, this is probably one of the shawls that I wear the most. And I'm actually surprised that I wear it as often as I do. always get compliments when I wear it, always. It's the Libby Johnson pattern. And Libby is a designer out of New Zealand, and her aesthetic is very modern, very wearable, and stylish in a unpretentious way. Yeah, she's a lovely designer. She writes a lovely pattern. So this is the Thundercloud Kisses shawl. Now I know this is going to shock the shit out of you, but this has been knit in Lolodidit. I know, right? Both of them. This is the Wild Horses colourway, and it's just beautiful. It's a nice, I couldn't have matched them better if, you know, they were dyed to go together. You know, if they were partners. It really is it's a yarn marriage, isn't it? You know, it's the ultimate romance, these two. So this is the Wild Horses colourway, and this is, I want to say bourbon. It is bourbon, and this, it is a little bit deeper brown than it's showing up on screen. It's probably more like that in the flesh, that colouring there. This was delightful to knit. There was purling. It's a shawl that you can really only wear. Oh no, I shouldn't say that. You can wear it. I don't mind garter finish. Never used to like it, but I quite like it now. Pretty. But it's that asymmetric with the baubles. Not a fan of baubles, but I think the baubles on this particular project make it. That and this gorgeous open lace. Is it lace? I suppose it's lace down there. So yeah, Lolodidit again. There you go. I know you're shocked, right? I wear this quite a bit. It's a shawl that sort of stays at the top of my shawl ladder here quite a bit. It's always there. Yeah. So I did a little bit of shopping, not a lot, a little bit. I mentioned last time I recorded that I'm on a bit of a yarn, excuse me, sorry, knocked that off. I'm on a bit of a yarn diet, because I have so much, and yeah, it's a little bit silly. Knit through what I've got, and trying to be more considerate when I purchase yarn, so that I'm not just buying for the sake of buying. You know, I'm buying for a particular project. And to be fair, I don't need to do that for a very long time, because I got to do. But a long time ago, when I first started knitting, I cast on trust me, there's rhyme and reason to this story, okay? Hang in there. I started knitting the Bentley cardigan by somebody Green, let's say. Anyway, the Bentley cardigan. She's that lovely lass who does the, I've got her book over there. You know, the cardigan challenge, where you knit a cardigan in a long weekend, or knit a sweater in a long weekend. She's that girl. I'm going to put her name here because it's really bad that I can't recall. And the name of the cardigan, or a picture of the finished cardigan here. Now, it's just down here. I wasn't actually going to pull this out, but now, I love this cardigan. It's just a nice, it's got a slight texture on the front. It's soft, and this is knit in Payton's Aussie superwash wool that I bought at Spotlight here in Australia before I was brave enough to buy Untitled Yarns. So I'm talking, this is 4 years, okay, long time. And then I got through to the sleeves. I started knitting the sleeves, and they felt, oh look, it's all creased. They just felt like quite puffy and very big. I thought, anyway, I put it in timeout, and then my tastes changed because it had been so long, and I picked it up again and I finished it. Right? Look at me finishing a long, languishing whip. But while it was sitting about waiting for me to get my act together and finish it, bugs found it. I was devastated. They ate holes in it. I've just found another one here. Look. They ate holes in it. So I thought, do I mend it? Do I throw it out? But I thought, no, look, it's been knit with love, and just fix it, right? So what I decided to do, I finished it. First and foremost, I finished it. There's great whopping, I've taken photos of the holes, but you can see I've darned it there badly. You know, I'm not a mender, clearly. And visible mending is a thing, isn't it? So, anyway, all that to say, I figured what I would do to hide or enhance the mending is to do a bit of embroidery over it. Well, I made that decision about 6 months ago. I don't embroider. No clue. I've done it. I've done cross stitch, haven't we all? Like anybody who does craft, I've done that. So what I decided that I would do is just sit on it, not stress about it, because I really want this to be nice. And I figured I would embroider some dandelions. So, you know, so just, and not hide it, but, you know, have the dandelions sort of over the couple of spots. There's a couple of spots where bugs got in and ate it, which is just devastating. Anyway, so I was hunting around on Instagram, scrolling, you know, doing that incredibly productive thing that we do from time to time, and I came across somebody who teaches knitting, embroidery on knitting, and how you do it, and well, she teaches it. Now, she doesn't go into any great detail on Instagram, but I know enough about stuff to be able to sort of cobble together an idea of how to do things. And she mentioned, so now this is to what I bought, she mentioned that she uses a stabilizer on her wool garments when she embroiders over it. So I got some stabilizer. So one step closer to putting this cardigan into circulation. It'll be a lovely cardigan to wear at work, because in the air conditioning and stuff, when I'm in the office. And it's a lovely fine gauge. Like, it's just such a lovely very fluffy. It's got cat hair all over it. So I bought myself some of the stabilizer. Now I've got enough embroidery floss about that that I've got enough to be able to do what I want to do. So I thought I might dabble in that. So now I've said it out loud, I need to do it. And this is a soluble one. So what you do, I don't know how yet. The instructions are included, thank God. But I'll check it out. Who knows? So I got that. It was $8, $8 Australian, obviously, because I'm Australian. And then I don't know whether I'm going to need one, but you know, who doesn't love an embroidery hoop? I may not need it, but you can't go into a craft shop and just come out with one thing, because like I say, I have two hobbies. I knit and I buy craft supplies. So yeah, super cute. And I got myself some needles as well. So then as I was walking out, now this was just this morning, like hand on heart, I needed to go down to a shop, and Lincraft was next door. It'd be wrong not to go. Anyway, as I was walking out, I stopped. I thought maybe there might be an embroidery book that would, you know. No, I got caught in the knitting book section and came across Amy Herzog, who wrote Knit to Flatter, which is a lovely book, and she's got a website that helps you custom design jumpers and things, sweaters, but knit, wear, love. So this is a bit of a recipe book, if you like, you know, mix and match book for, it is, that's what it actually says, mix and match. There you go. Look at me. 12 sizes and 3 gauges. So mix and match patterns in 12 gauges. Oh, sorry, 12 sizes and 3 gauges. Everything from a bolero to a wraparound jumper and everything in between. So I picked it up and, you know, had a bit of a flick, and I thought, well, look, if it teaches me, getting back to the problem that I have, because I do have such a large bust, and getting jumpers to fit properly, I'm kind of in that space now where I would like to master that art when it comes to knitting. So I just figured it was timely. And I'm sorry, $8. I couldn't leave it there. The fact that there are 24 patterns for $8, that's unbelievable. I pay $8 for a pattern on Ravelry a lot of the time, you know, with the exchange rate. So, yeah. So, oh, I love this. Without giving too much away. Look at that. Isn't that just lovely, the bottom of this here? I love a fancy sleeve. I love a sleeve that's a little bit different. Anyway, so I bought that. So that's my shopping. I know, right? And I'm not shopping at the moment, but clearly I am. Okay. Do we really want to dive into my notions pouch? Look, I've literally just grabbed it off the couch. So yes, isn't that pretty? La bien-aimée. I've got some yarn over there. I knit the Little Yellow Sweater by Andrea Mowry got it finished and was doing the ribbing for the neck, and the numbers were all out, so I ripped the whole thing out. I know. And I did it in the Yellow Brick Road colourway. So I've got a sweater quantity of Yellow Brick Road colourway. I don't know where I'm going to knit with it, because I don't think I want to knit the Yellow Brick Road. Your little yellow sweater again. I don't know if I'm going to do it. Not sure. You know, I very rarely knit things twice, so I shouldn't say that, because now I'm just going to do that. Anyway, so what's in my... Okay. Highlighter tape that I have never used. I think the idea is fabulous. I think if I remembered to use it, I would use it. But I've never used it. I bought a couple, there's one in here, I don't know where the other one is, but I bought this all the way from Canada, for goodness sakes. You know, 10 o'clock at night, I hit buy, and then a parcel turns up. It's awesome. But yeah, there you go. Highlighter tape that I have never used, in pink, of course. Tuft Woolen's hand barn. This is in the sage and blackberry colourway, scent. This is nice. And I don't use it nearly enough as, you know, I don't use it nearly as often as I should. But yeah, I do love it. I'm a real Tuft Woolens fan. I'll be honest though, I did one really big purchase going back a couple of years ago now, and haven't needed to buy it again. I actually have the cakes sitting in random places, keeping my yarn smelling nice, and that's all I use when I block. A row counter. Now this isn't counting anything. If I'm using it to count something, it's sitting in the project bag with it. I like these ones because they are clicky. My favourite though are the Cocoa Knits ones. But yeah, row counter. Oh, speaking of row counters, Cocoa Knits. There you go. Another one. These are great because if you've got that maker's board, they're this is magnetic. Great. But I mean, here in Australia they're about $25, these row counters, so a little bit of an indulgent tool. I actually think I might do a review of a whole stack of tools that I've bought and what I've found useful and what I haven't ever used. Highlighter tape. Just saying. But anyway, another row counter. What else is in here? Space Tricot. Kitchener stitch recipe. The most amazing piece of kit I've got, because I can never remember Kitchener stitch. I just can't, and I have to do it really slowly in order not to screw it up. And you know how when you're sort of at the end of a sock and you're doing the toe and you think, oh Lord, who's going to check the end of my toes? I've screwed it up. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to, run with it. The socks I've just finished, I was really particular. I don't know why. More particular than normal. I'm like, it's not that hard. Get it right, Kylie. So anyway, Katrinkles make these, and Katrinkles have a whole range of different really cool tools that are hard to get, actually. I've tried. And let's be completely frank, the freight to Australia is ridiculous. So anyway, so I've got that. Use that a lot. A 2.25 knitting needle. Surprising how often I use that. A lot. It's like you drop a stitch at whatever. Scissors. How many pairs? Oh, look, 3. 3 pairs of scissors. Each as amazing as the other. Sharp scissors are a must. I don't know why I've got 3 pairs in the one place. Oh God, and then they fall off the... I'm going to clean this out before I put it all back. Oh, another leather scissor protector. Cable needles. So these are the Cocoa Knits cable needles that I really like. And again, they're magnetic and they stick to the board. Then I've got... So there's 3 sizes. They're actually worth the dosh, these ones. Quite like them. And they're pretty. That's what I like about Cocoa Knit stuff. It's pretty. Just your standard old cable needle. I don't use a cable needle all that often anymore unless the cables are huge and the yarn is quite heavy yarn. But because I knit mostly in fingering weight, I can manage to do most of my cables without a cable needle. So anyway, and then a stitch fixer. That's a Cocoa Knits thing too, which is really handy. But at the end of the day, it's just a crochet hook with 2 ends. Oh, got both ends. Having said that, very handy for repairing garter stitch. Ripping down and knitting back up in 1 stitch of garter stitch. It's easy with this than just a standard crochet hook. Okay, honesty here. A Pixter, which if you haven't used one, it's for your teeth. It's like a bottle brush for your teeth. It's clean, it's not being used, it's just in there. Dental hygiene matters. Another DPN. I think they're 2.25s. I would have bought a set of 2.25s thinking that I'd knit socks on DPNs. Who was I kidding? A random ball or nugget of, I know you're shocked, Lolodidit Fulsome colourway. I used this to embroider the teddy's face on the jumper I knit for a girlfriend who was having a baby, and it's just still in there. And knit stoppers. Oh, look, and there's 2 in there. My gosh, that never happens. And then, last but by no means least, my favourite thing. It looks like a Chinese torture tool, doesn't it? This is a needle case that my dear sweet sister bought me when she was in Europe on, you know, the backpacking trip that all teenagers did except for me, because, you know, I wanted to be a mum and have babies instead. So she bought that for me. In the UK, I think. Her husband was from the UK. And it sat in the box it came in for years, like 15 years before I used it. I know you don't care, but, you know. Anyway, it's probably my most prized possession when it comes to my knitting tools, because my sister gave it to me. And she was on the other side of the world, and she thought of me and my craft all those years ago when we were young, and yeah, so there you go. So that's what sits in my oceans pouch. I'm going to have to clean it out, seriously. I won't put any of that back in until I'm well finished with you lovely people. Anyway, I think I might wrap it up. You've probably heard more than enough from me now. Thanks for stopping by. And if you're still here, holy heck, thank you. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, share it on Instagram. I hope you found it valuable, and if you've got any advice or anything you want to know about, please, drop it down in the comments. You can find me, Iamkyliegee, on Ravelry, and I'm Kylie on Ravelry, and I am Kylie on Instagram. Jump on over and say g'day. It's mostly knitting content there, but you get a little bit of a whisper about what's going on in my life. It's 1 o'clock now, or something like that, on a Sunday afternoon, so I'm going to do a little bit of editing of this, maybe later, and upload it to YouTube, and then I'm going to kick back and do a bit of knitting, just for something else to do, something out of the ordinary. I hope you have a sensational week. I'm planning on it. I'm back in the office this week. I've been working from home, back in the office next week, and yeah, take care of yourself, and make sure you spend time doing something you love with the people you love. I'll talk to you later. Bye.